Yes, the bittersweet Swan Song. The last hoorah of a console generation. A game that has taken nearly the entire life cycle of a console to complete. Could Final Fantasy VII Remake be that Swan Song for PlayStation 4? Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Only Nerdy Gaming, a place by a gamer, for gamers, and all things nerdy. I am Soulsword, your virtual guide, helping you traverse through the video game news, movie happenings, and other nerdy shenanigans out in the World Wide Web to fill that small space that other channels may have neglected to fill. Consider me that geeky friend that you have always wanted to nerd out with after school when nobody's looking, but would rather not be seen with in public. Of course, if anything I just said strikes a chord, perhaps hit the like button, share, and subscribe. So today I'm going to be talking about the highly controversial Final Fantasy VII Remake. Consider the last episode a segue into this one. I'll make sure to put a link in the description below to make it easy for you. Final Fantasy VII was not only the game that almost ruined my teenage years, probably would have ended my life if my mom would have found out that I snuck into her Christmas closet and found the game that I wanted to play for months, and opened it up and played it before Christmas without her ever knowing. But it was also the game that brought JRPGs to the mainstream, and would forever change the landscape of future games to come, pushing the envelope in what we can expect from games, not only from Square, but from the video game industry in general. From its storytelling to music, 3D graphics, and CGI cutscenes, Final Fantasy VII was a game changer. Fans have been clamoring for a next-gen remake since a tech demo was released for the PlayStation 3, showcasing the opening scene from the Final Fantasy VII game, recreated using the power of the PlayStation 3. Much to fans' disappointment, this was exactly what it was. A simple tech demo, and nothing more. I was so bummed. I got so excited and waited so long for any news coming out that when they finally came out and said, hey, sorry guys, yeah, that was just a tech demo, period. No game, spent all those resources just recreating the scene. Sorry, nothing to see here. The flames of fans chomping at the bit for a next-generation version of Final Fantasy VII were stoked even further when Square decided to create the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, announced back in 2003. This was a sub-series stemming from the main Final Fantasy VII story, a collection of video games, animated features, and short stories based in the world and continuity of Final Fantasy VII. The movie Final Fantasy VII Advent Children was a beautiful, all-CGI movie taking place after the events of the game, reuniting beloved characters on screen since the game's initial release many years prior. I also think that maybe this is an apology for the first ever Final Fantasy CGI movie, which tanked hard and had nothing to do with Final Fantasy whatsoever. So while some of the video games in this collection left a lot to be desired, that movie, Advent Children, struck a chord with fans of the game around the world, and this fueled the desire for a remake even further. Over the years, representatives from Square kept brushing it off, dismissing even the slightest thought that Final Fantasy VII could be remade, stating that it would just be too much of a monumental task to undertake. So loyal fans of the series would just have to make do with Final Fantasy VII characters like Cloud and Sephiroth, making appearances in fighting games such as Dissidia Final Fantasy and other action RPGs like Kingdom Hearts. Sometime, somewhere, however, behind the scenes, someone must have had a change of heart. E3, 2015. Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced at the Sony's E3 press conference where the world cried out in one uniform nerdy cry. I actually cried. I didn't just go, yay, woohoo! No, tears of joy actually rolled down my cheeks. Months later, first gameplay was revealed via a trailer on December 5th, 2015 at the PlayStation Experience Showcase. However, ever since the news, it's been scarce. There hasn't hardly been any. At the end of May 2017, it was revealed that Final Fantasy VII Remake development had shifted to internal setup at Square Enix. I didn't even know it was external. That was a little alarming for me. Naoki Hamaguchi, the project lead on Final Fantasy VII Remake, revealed that Square Enix had shifted its focus away from working with an external studio, CyberConnect 2, to bringing development inside. Hamaguchi confirmed that development was moving forward with external cooperation, and that Square Enix had decided to shift to an internal setup, including mass production and quality, because they wanted to control everything, including quality, on a stable schedule. That doesn't sound bad to me. Then this past summer of 2018, the game's director, Tetsuya Nomura, stated that the Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced too early. Gee, you think? Deciding when to announce your game to the public is always difficult, he told an Italian gaming magazine, Multiplayer, in an interview that was translated by Kingdom Hearts Insider. Conceding Kingdom Hearts 3 was unveiled prematurely as well, he said, it's better for Square Enix to make it official rather than have misleading leaks influence public perception of the game. The same thing happened with the remake of Final Fantasy VII, he said. I am well aware of the fact that we announced it too early, but even in the industry, word was beginning to spread that we were working on the game, so we just decided not to keep it a secret anymore and officially reveal it. But as we ended 2018 and as we begin 2019, things are starting to look a lot brighter about this game, which has been shrouded in mystery for so long. As we approach the launch of Kingdom Hearts 3, we're seeing the development staff get more vocal about when we can see more from that game too. In the latest issue of Famitsu, game director Tetsuya Nomura and producer Yoshinori Kitase were asked to talk about their work after the release of Kingdom Hearts 3 and what else they'd be working on in 2019. They both responded with comments suggesting that we're going to learn a lot more about the remake sooner rather than later. Thank God, because I was afraid I was actually going to end up dying before this game actually came to fruition. In the magazine, game director Tetsuya Nomura stated that his keyword for the coming year would be 7, and that his thoughts on the future are various presentations to be released. Let's just hope that 7 doesn't actually mean 7 more years to go. Meanwhile, producer Yoshinori Kitase says that his word is long awaited, with his thoughts being development on Final Fantasy VII Remake is progressing smoothly. I would like to try hard to meet the expectations of fans. Well, yes, definitely. Please try hard to meet the expectations of all of us fans, because it has been long awaited. In fact, I'd say that was an understatement. So what this means is we can probably expect more news shortly after the release of Kingdom Hearts 3, which releases on the PlayStation 4 on January 25th, 2019. Now, it was brought to people's attention that Square was considering making this an episodic title after the initial trailer was released at E3 2015. Certain people speculated that this meant that it would be going the episodic route like Life is Strange. Other people, more hopeful people like myself, thought that maybe they were referring to more of the episodic nature that Final Fantasy XIII was. Final Fantasy XIII, 13-2, and Lightning Returns Final Fantasy XIII, all for the PlayStation 3. I think it's been confirmed that's going to be the latter. They're going to be full-size games split into 3 portions. Now, does that mean that they're going to take the entire Final Fantasy VII Saga, the original PlayStation title, and elaborate on details and spread that game out into 3 games? Or are they going to create a fully functional open-world Final Fantasy VII as Saga 1, and then create a 7-2 and a 7-3, if you will? I'm not sure. I think all signs are pointing to the Final Fantasy VII Saga that we all know and love being split into 3 parts, so that way they can actually elaborate on the story. Because in previous interviews, they have stated, the developers have, that just copy and pasting the story the way it is from the PlayStation version to this version would not be doing the story justice. So we can all be, feeling some comfort that they're paying attention to the story, they're paying attention to what we want, and hopefully nothing gets left on the cutting room floor. Cloud dressing up as a girl, anyone? So, I'd be interested to hear what your comments are below in terms of how you think the game is going to turn out. Is it going to be small episodic chunks like hors d'oeuvres that fill you up eventually, or a 3-course meal where you're fully satisfied at the very end? In regards to the topic and title of this video, Final Fantasy VII Remake, is it going to be the Swan Song of the PlayStation 4? I believe that the first iteration is. I would not be surprised if the subsequent second and third titles that they are referring to come out for the PlayStation 5. In which case I would also not be surprised that Final Fantasy VII gets ported to the PlayStation 5. It's my hope that they would not just completely forego the PlayStation 4 for at least the initial Final Fantasy VII release, the remake release, and skip completely to the PS5. Because they're going to be alienating a lot of people who perhaps picked up the PS4 in 2015, were really excited for it, and aren't going to have the ability to snag a PS5 for a couple years. I'm super hardcore, so I bought the PS4 upon its initial release, PS4 Pro, not that I'm bragging, and I'll be doing the same for the PS5, but I know a lot of people out there can't do that. So I really hope that they can at least get this initial game out there on the PS4, so that way everybody who was excited for it, who has gotten the PS4 for that particular game, will be able to dive right in and enjoy that adventure until the subsequent chapters come out, most likely in the PS5. So when do I believe that they will most likely release the game? I'd say around January 2020, just like Kingdom Hearts 3 this year. And with the potential rumors of a PS5 being announced this year with the release date in next year, 2020, like I said, I'm not going to be surprised if they do a port of Final Fantasy VII Remake to the PS5. Well, I've hoped you enjoyed this little retrospective in the time frame that has been the life cycle of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have been your humble host, SoulSword. Please take care, and remember to stay nerdy.